What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about Harry Potter Quidditch Champions. It's actually been quite a while since we last talked about it. I think it might have even been before the playtest started, or at least the last kind of major wave. Now, I kind of want to talk about the silence. In terms of what's going on, I mean, hate to break it to you, or spoilers for this video, there's not a lot you can say. It is a lot of speculation. I went so far, I went on the website, right, of Unbroken Studios. Sometimes job postings, sometimes those pesky job postings that developers have to put out there. They need the talent, right? Sometimes they reveal something interesting, and we've actually gotten interesting things from Avalanche of Hogwarts. We've gotten things from Monolith. We've even gotten things from Rocksteady that indicates they're working on another game, WB Montreal. In fact, almost all of WB's teams have job postings, now that I think about it. They give you a little bit of information as to what the next game might be, or that there is a next game. Sorry to disappoint, but Quidditch Champions has 0 job postings, okay? There's not a single position that Unbroken Studios is looking to fill. At the time of me recording this, it could change, maybe any day now, any week. Now, there's a few things I do want to throw out there, right? Unbroken, the studio that's making this, they also are a support team, right? They help, and they're helping, I assume currently. We knew leading into it they were helping, but considering it's ongoing, I assume they're still helping it. Suicide Squad Kill a Justice League. It is still ongoing. I highly doubt it's ongoing as much as they probably wanted it to, but it's ongoing. So obviously, that impacts at least a little bit. I don't know what the split of the studio is. I believe there's roughly like 80 to 100 people, and I don't quote me on that number. But it's a smaller team. It's not 300, 400, 500 people, but it's not like a group of 20 individuals either. Like it's an okay sized team, right? But you got to imagine, well, how many are helping with Suicide Squad? Even if you have 25% of the studio, I mean, that's a pretty big percentage, and that's only assuming 25%. Now, why do I bring that up? Well, as long as Suicide Squad gets up, and I'm not asking for Suicide Squad to be like put down. I mean, it was a disappointment to WB. It probably will be put down faster than they wanted it to be, right? But I'm not asking for it to be terminated or anything. But for as long as it goes, and I don't know the split in the studio, but you imagine the studio continues to help as the game continues to go, and maybe that slows them down for Quidditch Champions, right? So that's one thing to throw out there. I guess another thing would be almost like the, release schedule and like how things are going. So you did have Suicide Squad, and that came out, and it's still going on. It doesn't have a lot of players, but it's still going on. You have Multiverses that comes out at the end of May. And in terms of WB itself, that's kind of it. We're always talking about Avalanche or WB Montreal and their like 50 games that they make. There's a lot going on behind the scenes. Monolith with Wonder Woman, right? But out there in terms of what's releasing, it is slightly busy, I guess, right now. Because you have Suicide Squad, you have Multiverses in about 2 months from now, almost to the day, actually, when I'm recording this. But after that, it's pretty clear. So could Quidditch Champions come out this summer, the fall? Well, that kind of leads us into the confusing part of this, right? It's like, what is going on? Now, I was reading articles, right? I was like, does anybody talk about this game? And the answer is really no. There hasn't been any new articles since like January on it. It's been a while since the play test. Like, there's nothing to go off there either. But one of the articles that I had seen back in January was talking about when they announced it. And the language they used talking about this game it sounds like a lot of the stuff was in limbo of what platforms does this thing even come out on? How do we even get this out to the public? Like, what's the push for this game? And there seemingly were questions even when it was announced, I think it's been a year. I think it's been around a year since they announced it. I didn't know that. I didn't know kind of the language they used when they first announced it. And, is it normal for games to, show themselves and then not really give systems or platforms? Yeah, I would say that's relatively common. I guess the longer it goes, though, the more I think that this is further and further out. And that's actually what the article started to make me think, right? Where, in my opinion, how I've always talked about it, right? When we first talked about this game a year ago, we did a live stream with all the Wizarding World creators, right? We talked about how the game's like freaking imminent, right? Like, it's coming out just any day now, and obviously that didn't turn out to be the case. But what's interesting, and the article got me thinking, it really feels like a split in my head where the game is either coming out sooner than you think. So the summer, let's say, right? Because the summer's, 3 months away, and it's summer, so not really all that far. It's either coming out pretty darn quickly, or it is very far away. And I don't want to be like pessimistic here, but the more I think about it, were they riding the hype of Hogwarts Legacy? The answer is probably yes, because they did choose an interesting time to announce it. And did they put it out there and then just say, well, again, we want to ride the hype, and that's kind of it. Like, this game might come out 2 years from now, 3 years from now, doesn't really matter. Now, the only thing I want to throw in, and nobody can talk about the playtest and stuff like that, but let's literally say the playtest. They had a playtest. Regardless of what's in the playtest, regardless of how people play it, or anything like that, they were having playtests. Now, like, games get playtested throughout their entire development cycle, right? A game that comes out 3 years from now is, in a way, getting playtested right now. Right now. That doesn't mean it's coming out right now. It's still coming out 3 years from now, right? But just the way they handled the play, and again, like, this is not talking about the specifics of it, but how they addressed it, how they went about inviting people, and people being able to invite others, it just felt so much closer. You know what I mean? And now I'm almost back, right? Originally, I'm thinking maybe this game is further out. Now I'm back to thinking, why do the play tests like that if the game is 2 years out? Is it uncommon? I mean, not really, because games can be playtested 2 years before they come out, but just the way they handled it. And in fact, when it happened, we talked about the comparisons to what game? Multiverses, which is in the same family, so it's very likely that these people bounce ideas, and the way that these things go is very similar in that family of developers. Multiverses did the same thing. You have the alpha, or the test, and then soon after, they did the freaking pre-release, where, now the way they handle Multiverses, I don't think was the smartest way of going about it, but that's the way they did it. They had people play it behind closed doors. You had to get the invite. You can invite other people, I think, from that. You played it. A few months later, the game was available in early access. It wasn't a full game, but it was a game, a part of a game. You played it, they took it offline, and then here we are. I don't even know how much later, maybe a year, well, maybe like 8, 9, 10 months right after they pulled it, and the game is now going to be out officially. So again, like, just looking at past track record, that's what happened with Multiverses. So I don't know. Like, I still believe Quidditch Champions is, like, within this year. Again, I will stand on what I said earlier. The longer it goes, the more I'm not worried about, like, the product, and we won't really say anything more there. I'm not really worried about the product. I'm just worried about, I guess, the optics of, is it going to come out 2 years from now, or like this year? That's what I'm worried about, right, quote unquote. So either it comes out, I'd say, the summer, or maybe like the early fall, or like we just get information on it in the summer, early fall. If we don't, I'm going to start to think this game is a lot further out than myself personally, other Wizarding World creators, us, the community. We all kind of thought this game was close, and I would say the longer it goes, the more all of us were wrong. And I think that's actually a factual statement, sadly. So let me know what you guys think in the comments of what's going on with this game. Leave it below. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on. I hope to see you all on the next one.